in the way that he plays, he's a violent player too, and he cuts it loose. But as a person, yes, very positive. You can see that he, had these goals in mind and talking through them over the last few months. So that's why I feel like I'm not surprised just because of who he is. And, when you set goals and you hit those check marks along the way, then, it can happen.
Nick, Odom's an accomplished special teamer. How's he looking from scrimmage and coverage to you this summer?
Like I said, he's always improved. Like, he's continued to improve. It stinks that we couldn't get him some more reps in that last game. We wanted to, but he's done a great job so far. We've liked what he's done. He's just grown more comfortable in how we play our defense and in his coverage and how he communicates and how he executes.
How would you describe Bosa's training camp? I mean, he obviously was late last year. He said that was part of the reason he sort of started sluggishly. How much different does this feel, and how much do you sort of need him to get back to that super high level?
Yeah, I feel like it's been a great camp, and I think he knew from the start, even talking to him when I called him in the offseason, I think that was always kind of his plan. And like you said, he's mentioned it in the past, missing some time last year and going through it. He felt certain parts of his game. Well, now he feels like it's sped up, and he's been real deliberate in how he's attacked it. It was cool to have him for a bit of the time in the offseason, too. I think all that stuff together, I don't think it's ever one thing, but the fact, you get better by practicing and playing football and doing football things, and he's done more of it early, so I expect that he'll have a good year. And I think he's in really good shape, too, and he's got a great, he's in a good mindset and state of mind as far as, like, how he's attacking it and his attitude.
His impact would obviously always be significant, but is it magnified at all with, Hufanga obviously trying to work his way back, Greenlaw out? I mean, there's some key players who aren't at full strength.
I think he's a key player regardless. Right. He's got to play a lot, and he's expected to be successful, and he expects it of himself. So I don't think there's no added anything. We expect that from all our players, and they expect it of themselves, and Nick is no different. I mean, he's a great player, and we expect him to play great.
How much do you take into account facing Aaron Rodgers week one and who you have on the outside in nickel situations? It looks like it could either be the veteran, Yadam, or it could be the rookie, Bernardo Green. How do you kind of go through that in your mind as far as putting a guy out there that's going to be facing such a prolific veteran?
I think really I like all the guys. I think it's more about, Ike's missed some time and how fast he gets back to where he was, because he was having a really good camp and we liked what he did in the offseason. And Renardo just keeps progressing in both spots. And I don't think it's so much about it being, a really good quarterback in Aaron Rodgers, because he is. I think it's more about focusing on us having our best players who are in the best situation to help us win the game.
Is there a point with Renardo where you said, okay, no more cross-training, you're here, and let's concentrate on being the best you can be here?
No, I had mentioned it a couple weeks ago. We kind of did it in blocks and in phases about wanting to, do both, focus more on nickel, do some corners so you can kind of compartmentalize it. But he still needs to have the ability to do both. So now we're, keeping nickel alive along with keeping corner alive. It's just kind of being able to do both.
How much of 3 years with Diamador, and obviously he's gotten training at both.
Mm-hmm.
How much have you been able to take with that experience to apply it to how you've taught Bernardo and those kind of
I think they're all different. You still teach the same. Guys sometimes gravitate towards different types of learning tools, but so you kind of use them all, and as you get to know the guys, you find out what works best for them. But guys learn at different levels too, and really the best learning is actually getting the reps. So we want to make sure that you're balancing how many reps you're getting. You're always keeping track, really with all our players, where they're getting reps, who they're getting them with, at what positions, and what reps are we giving them, zone, man, these types of different calls. So you want them to get a little bit of everything, and then if you see something that needs some extra work, you try and script it that way, or you rep it in pre-practice, or you get it in individuals.
Obviously, Renardo is a lot earlier in this part of his career than Diamador, but how unusual is it to have two people who can play both positions, and what kind of advantage does that give you?
I think you have to have guys that can play multiple spots. I think in a lot of positions, especially when you only have a certain amount of guys that can be up. Just like a safety can't be pigeonholed in just a stronger free safety. They got to have some versatility also. I think that can happen in a lot of rooms, not just in the DB room. But having those guys, it's a good thing. That's why we started Renardo out, training him early, so that he was prepared for it.
What impressed you guys about Sam Okuanu this summer?
He flashed for us. He came to us late, and just the way that he explodes, and he's still young in our system, so we just saw some flashes, and then it started to apply, and then it stinks he had the setback with the hamstring, so we wanted to see some more game situations with him and more practices, because I think you need that, just to gain more information and just to him to get better. But just like seeing upside with him and what's in him, we think that he can be a good player.
Can you describe the emotions you were feeling when you saw Yetur Gross-Matos and Leonard Floyd go down with knee injuries several plays apart?
It wasn't a good feeling. It definitely stinks. I mean, it stinks for anyone in the preseason, but it's hard because you want to get reps for guys, and we spend a lot of time talking about it with Kyle and really with all your staff, because you need to get ready to play week 1, and then you also want to be smart about it, but you can't control everything. So it was just one of those, it stunk at the time, and you were just hoping that those guys were healthy. And that goes for anyone that gets hurt at any time, and especially in the preseason for guys before they can even get to the season. So, so far we've had good news about all that, so that was a relief. But, yeah, at the time it was not a great feeling.
Nick, who's going to decide on game day what games you guys play up front? Is that you or is that Chris?
What do you mean?
You guys are stunting and twisting and doing different things up front with your front.
Oh, yeah, we talk about that as a staff. Chris has thoughts, and then you just kind of look at it through run game, pass rushes and third downs and all that. So we're always connected, talking, whether it's in our staff meetings or I'd like to do one-on-ones with guys too when stuff comes up, whether it's with, Daniel Bullocks in the back end or Johnny Holland with the linebackers, and then also as a group too. It's really kind of discussed with all of us because we want to make sure we're on the same page. And then as far as his specific rush games and certain down and distances, Chris really attacks that, and how he studies the tape, and it's been good so far, and we always try to communicate so we're on the same page with it.
Collins had a play where he kind of took on a double team and still got to the running back in that last preseason
Oh yeah, the
game.
first play.
I mean, is that what you expected from him, or is he, just thriving more in this system?
Yeah, I mean, we liked him. That's why we we got him here. We're excited to have him, and really like that whole group of guys that we had and that we brought in. And that was a cool play. You don't see that very often to, kind of hip toss 2 guys and then make the play for 1 or 2 yards, whatever it was on that first play. So he's been great. He's got, like I said, he's explosive. He can move, and he's got wiggle to him, and how he rushes the passer. So does Grave and Kevin. Even Jordan has that same inside versatility with his body, which even though he's a bigger guy, but Malik has done a lot of that, and to see him be able to take on the double team like that was awesome.
Thank you, guys.
Cool. Thanks.